My beloved child, something is shifting around you in this very moment, something so divine, so time-sensitive, that even the air near you can feel it. Archangel Michael is stepping closer than he has all year, and he is whispering a message meant only for those whose hearts have been trembling and waiting. Christmas Eve miracle incoming. Archangel Michael says your heart is about to receive an answer you've been waiting on, and the blessing unfolds at the last second. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not an ordinary message. It is a spiritual countdown, a hidden promise awakening, a divine thread finally weaving into place after months, maybe years, of silent longing. Tonight, your spirit is being summoned into alignment with a heavenly moment that has already begun to move toward you. Michael is revealing that the delay you felt was never denial. It was choreography. It was preparation. It was heaven placing the final piece exactly where it needs to be, so that when the blessing arrives, it arrives perfect, untouched, unstoppable, undeniable. And he says this: the answer you have been holding in your heart, the one you barely speak about anymore, is already at your door. But here is the mystery. This answer will not appear when you expect it. It will not show up in a familiar way. It will not feel predictable or rehearsed. Michael says it will unfold at the last second, in the quiet moment when your soul loosens its grip and heaven tightens its embrace. Feel the truth of that. Feel how your spirit responds when the words last second echo within you. Because this is the kind of miracle that waits for the perfect breath, the perfect alignment, the perfect blink, and then it arrives as if it has been there all along. Archangel Michael is showing me an image, a sealed envelope, glowing with golden light, resting on the threshold of your heart. Inside that envelope is the answer, your answer, the one that carries healing, closure, clarity, restoration, direction, maybe even unexpected joy. For months, your spirit has been whispering the same quiet question: when will it be my turn? Tonight, heaven whispers back, your turn begins now. There is a holy stillness around you right now, a sacred pause, almost like the world is inhaling just before releasing something extraordinary your way. And Michael says you have felt this shift recently. A sudden calm, a strange hope, a flash of intuition. That was the first sign. The alignment has already started. But Michael warns of this too. The next moments of your life may feel unusually intense, as if emotions rise without reason or your spirit feels restless. Do not fear this. It is the final clearing of your heart so the blessing can land without resistance. He says, you are being prepared for what you prayed for. And child, the magnitude of this preparation means the miracle is close, so close that every distraction is now trying to grab your attention. Every voice of doubt is trying to rise. Every old fear wants to speak again. But Michael stands beside you with his sword of truth, cutting through these shadows before they come near your peace. You are not watching this by accident. You were guided here because heaven needed to reach you before the moment arrives. So you are not caught off guard by the sudden shift that is about to unfold. Your heart has waited long enough. Your tears have been witnessed. Your endurance has been counted as faith. Michael says the answer will arrive in a way that confirms three things. 1. You were never forgotten. 2. You were always protected. 3. God's timing is not late. It's precise. And as Christmas Eve draws near, the spiritual realm becomes thinner, softer, more open. Miracles move differently in this season. Blessings travel faster. Angelic intervention becomes easier. Heaven's calendar opens wide and your name is glowing upon it. Pay attention now. There will be a moment, so subtle, so gentle, yet so powerful, that shifts everything you've been feeling. It may come through a message, a sign, a sudden opportunity, a person returning, a truth revealed, or a door opening that you thought had closed forever. When it arrives, your spirit will recognize it instantly. And before this part of the message ends, let Michael leave you with this. Do not step away now, for the next revelation holds the key to how your miracle will unfold. Before you move, child, pause, because what comes next carries a truth you do not want to miss. This story is just beginning to open, and the next moment is where the light breaks through. If this speaks to your soul, type "I open my heart to the miracle" in the comments. Lesson code 441 is being released over you now. Dearest one, a gentle stirring is happening around your spirit right now, and if you listen closely, you may feel it like a warm current brushing against the edge of your heart. Archangel Michael is drawing nearer, not with a shout, but with a quiet authority that settles into the room like truth itself taking form. He says that the miracle approaching you has already begun to shift the energy of your environment. You may notice unusual signs, unusual dreams, or sudden waves of emotion that come without explanation. These are not coincidences. They are the early movements of a blessing that knows your name, your timing, and your deepest unspoken need. Michael reveals something profound in this moment. The answer you have been waiting for is not coming from outside your life. It is emerging from within your path, from a thread God has been weaving in silence. You were never waiting for the world to change. The world was waiting for you to be positioned. And now, finally, you are standing in the exact place where heaven can reach you without obstruction. This is why everything feels different recently. You are not imagining the shift. You are not misreading the signs. You are stepping into alignment with a Christmas Eve miracle that has already been released. He shows me an image of you standing before a door, not a physical door, but a spiritual threshold, and behind it, there is a bright, pulsing light. This light is the answer you have prayed about in the quiet hours when no one heard you cry, in the silent places where you kept your heart guarded, in the moments where you questioned whether heaven had forgotten your requests. Michael says heaven did not forget. Heaven stored it, protected it, and waited for this very season to deliver it, because this is the hour where faith opens faster than fear can close doors. If you pay attention to your thoughts today, you might notice something strange happening. Old worries seem to rise up but dissolve quickly. Moments of doubt appear but do not anchor. Even memories that once brought pain feel like they have lost their grip on you. This is Archangel Michael clearing your inner space so the blessing does not arrive into clutter, but into clarity. He says, a heart prepared is a miracle invited. And right now, your heart is being shaped like a vessel ready to receive something overflowing. You have walked through months, maybe even years, of emotional heaviness. You carried burdens that were never meant to be permanent. You survived situations that could have drained your hope completely, yet somehow you held on. You kept walking. You kept praying. You kept whispering, even when you felt your breath tremble. Heaven has counted each moment of strength. Nothing was wasted. Your endurance has become the bridge through which this miracle travels. Michael says the blessing coming your way has a very peculiar timing. It appears at the last second. It unfolds in a moment when you have almost released expectation, not because you gave up, but because your heart finally surrendered control. That surrender is the opening heaven needed. You did not lose hope. You simply shifted from forcing timing to trusting divine orchestration. And once trust entered your spirit, the miracle had permission to approach. A new revelation rises now. The answer you seek may not come dressed in the form you expect. It may arrive through a surprising person, an unexpected opportunity, a message that comes out of nowhere, a sudden shift in someone's heart, a reconciliation you thought impossible, or a pathway that appears where there was once only a wall. Michael says this is why it is unfolding at the last second, because heaven delights in revealing itself in a way that proves without question that it was God, not chance, not coincidence, not human effort. Take a moment and breathe deeply. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders. Feel how your spirit is beginning to open. Feel the sense that something is building, rising, gathering momentum. This is the spiritual countdown reaching closer and closer to your moment of breakthrough. And Michael whispers gently now, do not assume the silence before the miracle is emptiness. It is preparation. It is gathering. It is acceleration disguised as stillness. There is someone watching this who has been battling confusion about a relationship, a decision, or a direction. You have been asking for clarity, begging for a sign, trying to understand what the next step is. Michael says clarity is part of your miracle. When the blessing arrives, it will not only answer your prayer, it will remove the fog from your path. What felt uncertain will suddenly make sense. What felt tangled will unravel. What felt delayed will reveal why the timing had to be protected. And hear this with your whole spirit. The miracle heading toward you is not just for comfort. It is for transformation. It is meant to shift your life from waiting into movement, from fear into faith, from questioning into knowing. This blessing is not temporary. It carries longevity, purpose, and divine weight. Before this moment closes, Michael gives one final whisper. What comes next in this message is the revelation that prepares your spirit for the exact way the miracle will enter. You not miss what is about to be spoken. Hold steady now. The next unfolding carries a truth your heart has longed to hear. If this resonates in your spirit, type I am ready for the answer in the comments. Blessing code 552 is now released over your life. Beloved soul of light, there is a trembling in the atmosphere that surrounds you now. A gentle vibration that Archangel Michael says is the very heartbeat of your incoming miracle. He steps forward with a clarity that feels like a fresh wind entering a room that has been closed for years. He wants you to understand something deeply before the next shift unfolds. The blessing coming toward you is not drifting randomly. It is being escorted by divine hands. Heaven has assigned movement, timing, and direction to what you have been waiting for, and Michael himself has been guarding its path so nothing delays it any longer. He reveals a moment from your past, a moment you may have forgotten but heaven did not. There was a night when you whispered a prayer so quietly that you thought even God might have missed it. But that whisper became a seed. It did not wither. It did not disappear. It did not lose power. It rooted itself into the spiritual realm, and heaven had been cultivating it ever since. What you thought was a small request became a great unfolding. What you believed was too fragile to survive became the very foundation of what is about to bloom in your life. Michael says the miracle approaching you carries 3 layers: restoration, revelation, and release. Restoration is for what was lost. Revelation is for what was hidden. Release is for what has been held back from you. As Christmas Eve draws near, these 3 layers are weaving together like threads of golden fire, forming a blessing that cannot be mistaken for coincidence. It will feel too precise, too perfect, too timely to be anything other than divine orchestration. There is something very important Michael needs you to hear now. The miracle will not simply arrive. It will interrupt. It will interrupt doubt. It will interrupt fear. It will interrupt cycles that kept repeating. It will interrupt emotional patterns you thought you were trapped in. This is why the blessing unfolds at the last second, because it is meant to break open a situation right when it seems sealed shut. It enters the moment when your hands loosen their grip, and your spirit surrenders the outcome. It enters the second your heart whispers, Whatever is meant for me, let it come. Michael shows me a spiritual image, a brilliant light descending like a ribbon of gold, curling gently around your heart. Inside that ribbon is the answer you have been longing for. And this answer is not late. In fact, Michael says it is early compared to what the original divine timeline held. Heaven accelerated the miracle because your spirit matured faster than expected. The growth you achieved in quiet places, the healing you pursued even while hurting, the forgiveness you offered when no one apologized, these things pulled the blessing closer. Listen carefully to the next truth Michael delivers. Before the miracle enters, there is often a stirring, a restlessness, a sudden sensitivity to your own emotions. You may feel waves of reflection, moments of unusual clarity, or even unexpected memories rising from the past. These are not signs of regression. They are signs of cleansing. Heaven is preparing your heart to hold what is coming. A blessing this powerful requires space. It requires readiness. It requires emotional openness so the miracle does not simply arrive but becomes a permanent turning point in your life. You may have noticed this emotional shifting recently. Perhaps you felt distance from someone you were once close to. Perhaps you suddenly lost interest in old fears that used to control you. Perhaps you felt drawn inward, quieter, more reflective. Michael says this is the spiritual pruning that always happens before a divine arrival. Nothing is being taken from you. Everything unnecessary is being removed from your path so the miracle can land without interference. There is someone listening now who has been carrying a very heavy uncertainty about the future. You have been asking if your next steps will lead you into stability or into more difficulty. Michael says this miracle does not only answer your question, it stabilizes your future. It removes the hesitation from your path. It shifts you from fear to clarity. When this blessing enters, you will feel the weight lift instantly, as if someone pressed a key into your hand that unlocks a new direction. And now Michael leans close with a whisper meant for your spirit rather than your ears. He says, prepare to witness the moment heaven reveals why everything took so long. The delay was your protection. The silence was your shaping. The waiting was your strengthening. But the miracle, this miracle, is your reward. You are stepping into a divine moment that will mark the end of a long spiritual chapter and the beginning of something breathtakingly new. Before this part concludes, Michael urges you not to step away now. What comes next is the moment where the miracle's identity begins to take form. The revelation that follows will answer the question your heart has been holding beneath all other questions. Hold steady, for the next unfolding carries the key to understanding the timing of your blessing. If this message touches your spirit, type "My miracle is aligning" now in the comments. Blessing code 773 is now released over you. Like, share, comment, hype this message, and subscribe for more divine guidance. Your engagement helps this message reach the ones who are crying out for hope right now. Now, beloved, allow this sacred transition into a deeper truth as I speak directly to those whose hearts are stirred to support this mission. Just as this miracle moves toward you, there are countless souls waiting for a word that could lift them out of darkness. When you choose to support this channel, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into the very field where God awakens hearts. The light that flows here becomes a river that reaches those who have no voice, no guidance, no strength left to pray. Scripture declares that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and today heaven speaks that promise directly over you. I am inviting you personally to step into this moment of impact, for your seed becomes oil that keeps this flame burning. Let your support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description become a prophetic act that opens the heavens over your own life. To everyone who gives, I declare supernatural increase, accelerated answers, and divine visitation. Step forth boldly and release your offering. Heaven is watching for your obedience, not your amount. Sacred One, there is a quiet trembling beneath the surface of your life right now. A vibration that Archangel Michael says is the echo of something opening for you in the unseen. He steps forward with a presence that feels like the air itself is thickening with purpose, and he wants you to understand that what is unfolding for you is not accidental, not random, not merely seasonal. It is intentional. It is heaven-timed. It is precisely interwoven into this moment because your spirit has finally reached the capacity to hold what once would have overwhelmed you. Michael reveals that your heart has been in a long season of stretching. You have been pushed emotionally, spiritually, mentally, sometimes to the point where you questioned whether you had anything left to give. You carried responsibilities that were never acknowledged. You survived losses that were never spoken aloud. You walked through battles no one saw. Yet through all of it, something within you refused to collapse. That resilience, that hidden strength, that silent endurance is what positioned you for this incoming Christmas Eve miracle. Heaven watched every moment you kept going, and now heaven moves on your behalf in response. There is a divine mystery Michael wants you to grasp. Your miracle is not coming because of luck or timing or coincidence. It is coming because your spirit has earned its readiness. God does not release answers into unprepared hands. He releases them into hearts that have been refined, strengthened, and purified by the very waiting they endured. Your waiting was not empty time, it was transformation. It shaped you into the version of yourself who can now receive without losing, who can now hold without breaking, and who can now walk forward without fear. Michael shows me an image of a clock, but the hands are not made of metal, they are made of light. Each movement of the clock emits a glow, and that glow pulses toward you. He says these pulses are divine moments aligning in your favor, moments that have been in motion since the first day you cried out for clarity. These pulses converge toward a single point, a single moment where everything begins to make sense. That moment draws nearer with every breath you take. You may feel an unusual awareness in your atmosphere recently. Perhaps you have been waking up with a feeling that something is shifting. Perhaps your thoughts drift toward hope without reason. Perhaps you sense a tug in your spirit, as though something is standing just behind the veil, waiting to emerge. This is not imagination. It is spiritual alignment. It is the miracle adjusting its timing to meet you exactly where your heart can receive it. Michael says this alignment often comes with signs, small ones, subtle ones that most people ignore but your spirit recognizes. A sudden message that feels significant. A dream that lingers. A repeated number. A moment of unexpected peace. A conversation that seems out of place yet strangely meaningful. These are heavenly breadcrumbs leading you into the truth that something is approaching, something heaven-crafted and angel-protected. He wants you to understand that the answer you have been longing for is not just coming to comfort you. It is coming to change the course of your life. This miracle is directional. It shifts pathways. It adjusts outcomes. It realigns destiny. It is not a momentary relief. It is a permanent turning. It is heaven saying, "You have endured enough. And now watch what happens when divine timing opens." But before the miracle arrives, there is always a spiritual thinning of the veil. You may feel emotions rise unexpectedly. You may feel tired without explanation. You may feel reflective about things you thought you had forgotten. Michael says this is purification. Heaven is releasing the final fragments of old heaviness from your spirit so the blessing can land without resistance. He brings attention to something tender within you, the part of your heart that wonders whether you are truly ready to receive the answer you have prayed for. He says, yes, you are ready. You are more ready than you know. Your growth has already surpassed the level required to sustain the blessing coming your way. The doubts you feel are simply echoes of the old you, the one who did not yet know how strong you were becoming. But the version of you standing here today is equipped, sharpened, protected, and prepared. Michael speaks something deeply prophetic now. The miracle is not late. It is layered. That means what is coming includes more than what you ask for. It includes hidden blessings you did not know to request, favor, alignment, protection, new opportunities, and unexpected restoration. Heaven never sends blessings in pieces. It sends them in clusters. You asked for one answer, but heaven is releasing multiple breakthroughs wrapped inside the same moment. And here is the revelation he wants you to hold tightly. The blessing will unfold when it seems nothing is happening. The last second is often disguised as stillness. The breakthrough arrives at the edge of surrender, not the peak of striving. Heaven waits for the moment when your spirit stops forcing and starts flowing, because that is when divine timing can finally take over. As this part reaches its close, Michael presses one more truth into your heart. Do not step away yet. The next unfolding reveals what the miracle will touch first. It reveals the beginning point of the blessing, the door that opens before all others. You will not want to miss what is about to be spoken next. If this awakens something within you, type "My spirit is ready" in the comments. Blessing code 884 is now being released over your life. Precious heart, there is a sacred stirring rising inside you now, the kind that only appears when heaven is preparing to reveal something that has been hidden for far too long. Archangel Michael stands beside you with a calm yet powerful presence, and he says the next phase of this miracle is already touching the edges of your reality. You may not see it fully yet, but your spirit has already begun to feel the shift. Your atmosphere has changed. Your inner compass has begun to turn. Your emotional responses have softened or intensified in ways you cannot explain. These changes are not random. They are the early tremors of a blessing drawing near with every passing breath. Michael reveals that every miracle, every divine answer, starts in the spiritual realm before it ever becomes visible in the physical world. Long before you witness the breakthrough, your spirit receives the first whispers of it. And that is what has been happening to you. You have felt nudges you could not define. You have sensed movement you could not prove. You have carried an inner knowing that something is approaching even when your circumstances refuse to confirm it. Heaven was signaling you. Heaven was preparing you. Heaven was inviting you to feel the miracle before you saw it. He wants you to understand something significant now. The answer you are waiting for has not been delayed. It has been perfected. God has been shaping it quietly, removing every element that could harm you and reinforcing everything that will strengthen you. The miracle is not coming to fill a temporary void. It is coming to restructure a part of your life. It is coming to stabilize what has been shaking, restore what has been lost, and ignite what has gone dormant within you. This is why it required time. Not because heaven was slow, but because heaven was making sure nothing incomplete could reach you. Michael shows me a vision of your heart. It looks like a room where light is slowly seeping in through cracks in the walls. At first, the cracks seem small, insignificant, barely visible. But as the light intensifies, the cracks widen, and suddenly the room is flooded with brilliance. He says this is exactly how your miracle enters, gradually at first, then all at once. The last second is not a sudden moment. It is the final moment of a long build-up. Heaven had been sending light into your situation, little by little, until the moment it bursts open with undeniable clarity. He speaks now about a spiritual law that is unfolding in your life. Before the blessing appears, the internal landscape must shift. This is why you have recently felt moments of deep reflection, sudden release, or emotional heaviness that appears without warning. You may have questioned why old memories resurfaced, why certain people pulled away, or why you found yourself craving solitude. Michael says these were not regressions, they were transformations. Heaven was removing the remnants of emotional weight so your heart could receive your miracle without the shadows of your past interfering. There is also a divine realignment happening around relationships and connections in your life. People who once drained your spirit are losing their hold. People who once confused you are fading from your heart. Situations that once caused anxiety now feel strangely distant. Michael says these shifts are heaven's way of making room for what the miracle will bring. Every divine answer requires space, physical space, emotional space, spiritual space. You cannot step into a new chapter while holding the weight of an old one. And heaven, in its mercy, is clearing the path for you. Michael also reveals something tender. The miracle you are waiting for may not look like the original picture you imagine. It will be better, stronger, clearer, more aligned with your purpose. Heaven does not return what was lost in the same form. It returns it improved, elevated, purified. If relationship healing is coming, it will come with truth and understanding. If financial breakthrough is coming, it will come with wisdom and stability. If clarity is coming, it will arrive with peace. If opportunity is coming, it will come with confidence and protection. Heaven never gives half blessings. It gives complete ones. You may feel a deep pull inward right now, a desire to breathe, to rest, to pause, to listen. That is because the spiritual realm is speaking louder than the physical realm in this moment. Your intuition is heightened. Your perception is sharper. Your heart is more open than it has been in months. Michael says this openness is the signal that the miracle is close. The more still your spirit becomes, the closer the blessing gets to entering. There is someone receiving this message who has been wrestling with a fear of disappointment. You have been afraid to hope again because the last season tested you so deeply. You wonder if believing too strongly will lead to heartbreak. Michael says it will not. Your faith in this moment is not fragile hope. It is prophetic alignment. Heaven is not calling you to wish. Heaven is calling you to prepare. And now Michael leans close with a revelation meant to anchor your heart. What is coming will not slip away. It will not collapse. It will not disappear. It will not deceive you. This miracle is safeguarded. This answer is sealed. His blessing is irreversible. Heaven has signed its approval. The miracle is already on its final descent toward you. Before this part closes, listen carefully. The next unfolding reveals where the miracle will land first. It reveals the first place in your life that will feel the shift, the first door that will open, the first sign that the last second blessing has arrived. You will not want to miss what is coming next. If your spirit feels this truth, type "I welcome my miracle" with faith in the comments. Blessing code 992 is now being released over you. Chosen soul, there is a soft awakening unfolding inside you at this very moment. And Archangel Michael says it is the sign that your miracle is now entering a stage of divine visibility. For so long, the blessing has been forming in silence, concealed beneath layers of timing, preparation, and spiritual refinement. But now, heaven has begun to remove the final veils. The miracle you have been waiting for, longing for, praying for, dreaming of, sometimes doubting, sometimes clinging to with trembling hope, is stepping closer, not in the distance but directly into your path. What was once invisible is beginning to breathe near you. Michael reveals that the next phase of your blessing begins with awareness. Not the awareness of your mind, but the awareness of your spirit. Something inside you is becoming more alert, more sensitive, more attuned to the subtle movements of heaven. The sensitivity is not emotional confusion. It is the sign of a heart that has begun to recognize what is approaching. You may notice that your intuition has sharpened, that your internal compass feels more alive, that your thoughts drift toward hope without your permission. This is the spiritual frequency rising. Heaven is tuning your heart to the vibration of your incoming miracle so you will not miss the moment it touches your life. Michael shows me a vision now, a horizon covered in dusk, quiet and unmoving, until suddenly a streak of golden light breaks through like a tear in the sky. That golden streak is symbolic of what is entering your life. It pierces through places that once felt dark or uncertain. It breaks into situations that felt stagnant. It illuminates paths that were hidden. And as that light widens, everything around it begins to shift. He says you are standing at the threshold of this illumination. The next revelation you receive will be the first sign that the miracle is no longer forming. It is arriving. There is something deeply important Michael wants you to understand. The first place your blessing lands is always the heart, not the circumstance, not the external reality. The heart is the birthplace of every miracle. When heaven prepares to release something powerful, it begins by softening, strengthening, and awakening the inner world. The heart must open before the door opens. The heart must receive before the answer manifests. And that opening is exactly what has been happening to you in recent days, even if you have not understood why your emotions have been moving the way they have. You may have found yourself reflecting more than usual, revisiting old memories or feeling unexpected clarity about situations that once confused you. You may have felt nausea to release certain fear, certain expectation, certain attachments. You may have lost interest in things that once consumed your attention. These shifts are not random mood swings. Michael says they are spiritual clearings. Heaven is removing the clutter so your heart can feel the miracle when it lands. Nothing divinely aligned can rest inside a heart weighed down by yesterday's heaviness. And heaven, in its mercy, had been preparing you for the moment the answer enters. Michael wants you to know that there is a reason your blessing required patience. Not because heaven was withholding, but because heaven was building a version of you that could hold the weight of what you prayed for. Miracles are not fragile, but the places where they land sometimes are. That is why heaven strengthened you. That is why certain people drifted away. That is why certain opportunities were delayed. That is why clarity took time. Everything had to align with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. He speaks another profound truth. The first shift you will notice as the blessing arrives is peace. Not ordinary peace, but a quiet assurance that settles into your chest without explanation. Peace that interrupts fear. Peace that interrupts overthinking. Peace that makes you feel supported even when nothing around you has changed yet. This is Michael's sign to you. When this peace begins rising, the miracle is only moments behind it. Peace comes first because it prepares the heart to recognize the divine. You may also notice another sign, unexpected ease. Situations that once felt heavy may begin lightening. Conversations that once brought confusion may suddenly bring clarity. Doors that once seemed shut may begin to loosen. Opportunities may reappear. People may reach out. Answers may drift into your awareness like whispers of truth. This ease is the second sign of your miracle. Michael says ease is the mark of something heaven orchestrated, because divine blessings never require force. They unfold with grace. He reveals now that the miracle coming toward you will begin by touching the deepest desire you hold. The one you rarely speak aloud, the one you only whisper in your private prayers, the one that carries the most tenderness. Heaven always begins by healing the place that hath been hurting the longest. That is why the first landing point of your blessing is the most vulnerable part of your heart. When that part is touched, you will feel a release, something lifting, something opening, something softening inside you. Michael also says the miracle will not just enter your life quietly. It will come with confirmation, a sign that leaves no doubt, a moment that makes your spirit say, "This is it." You will not have to force understanding. You will simply know. Your heart will recognize what your eyes have not yet fully seen. And now he leans close with a revelation meant to anchor you. The moment of unfolding is nearer than you think. The last second is approaching. Do not walk away from the message now. The next revelation reveals who the miracle touches next, and it is more powerful than what you expect. Beloved, hold this truth tightly. The unfolding is not ahead of you. It is happening around you even now. If your spirit receives this, type "I receive the first touch of my miracle" in the comments. Blessing code 1001 is released upon your life. Radiant soul, there is a holy nearness around you right now, and Archangel Michael says this nearness is the evidence that your miracle has crossed from preparation into manifestation. Something is unfolding behind the veil with such precision that even the smallest movements of your heart have begun to shift in response. You may not have the full picture yet, but you can feel the weight of something approaching. You can sense the change in the air. You can feel the subtle warmth rising within your spirit. These sensations are not imagination. They are the spiritual ripples of a blessing entering your field of reality for the first time. Michael steps forward now with a message that carries both power and tenderness. He says the miracle you have been waiting for is not coming toward you alone. It is coming toward the you that exists today, not the version you used to be. This distinction matters deeply. So much of your journey has been about transformation, quiet, painful, necessary transformation. You have shed old beliefs. You have released old fears. You have outgrown old patterns. You have walked through doors that required courage your past self did not possess. And because of this transformation, the miracle is finally landing in the soil where it can grow roots that will last. He shows me an image of a tree with two halves. One side is barren, stripped, empty, almost lifeless. The other side is overflowing with blossoms, branches glowing with golden fruit. He says the barren half represents where you started, the season of loss, confusion, heaviness, and uncertainty. The blooming side represents where you stand now, even if you do not yet realize how much growth has taken place. Heaven has been nurturing your roots silently while you were focused on the storms above ground. You thought you were breaking. Heaven was strengthening. You thought you were losing. Heaven was preparing. You thought you were delayed. Heaven was aligning timing with destiny. Michael wants you to understand something deeply. The miracle is not just for your heart. It is going to ripple outward into multiple areas of your life. But it begins with one specific place. The next person the miracle touches is someone whose presence or absence has shaped your emotional landscape for a long time. This may be someone who hurt you, someone who supported you, someone who left you, someone who stayed, or someone whose role in your life has been uncertain. Michael says heaven is moving into a relational space that has needed healing for years. It may appear subtle at first, but the shift will be undeniable once it begins. He also reveals that someone connected to you, someone whose energy hath been intertwined with yours, is being prepared for a change as well. This person may feel restless, reflective, emotional, or unexpectedly drawn back toward clarity they did not have before. Heaven is moving through their heart too, aligning them with the role they are meant to play in the miracle unfolding around you. Whether this role is reconciliation, release, support, truth-telling, or offering an opportunity, the alignment is already in motion. You are not the only one being prepared. Someone else is being softened, awakened, or redirected toward you in divine timing. Michael emphasizes that this next phase is delicate. The energy around you is shifting, and you may notice that certain conversations feel heavier, certain interactions feel lighter, or certain memories feel more vivid. This is because heaven is rearranging emotional currents. You are being placed into the position where the miracle can have its greatest impact. And sometimes, that requires heaven to move other people into alignment as well. You may feel this movement as sudden peace with someone, sudden distance from someone, or sudden clarity about what a certain connection truly means. All of these changes are signs that the blessing is touching hearts beyond your own. He says there is a divine purpose behind every shift happening now. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is random. Every emotional tug, every intuitive pull, every unexpected encounter is a step in the choreography of your miracle. Heaven is touching the first heart, yours, and now begins to touch the second. This unfolding will continue until the fullness of the blessing is revealed. There is also a deeper message Michael wants you to hold close. The person, or situation, that the miracle touches next will bring a level of healing or confirmation that you have quietly craved for a long time. You may have prayed for understanding. You may have asked for closure. You may have needed clarity. You may have longed for truth. The miracle carries these things within it. The answer is not meant to be vague. It is meant to be unmistakable. Michael whispers now with sacred intensity, "Do not underestimate what heaven is weaving. The threads are moving faster than your eyes can see." He says the moment you begin to feel this shift in your relationships or emotional atmosphere is the moment you will know the miracle has crossed into its next stage. You will begin to notice conversations unfolding differently, decisions feeling easier, and people responding with unexpected softness or sincerity. Heaven is positioning individuals exactly where they need to be so that your blessing can arrive without interference. And hear this next revelation with your whole heart. The miracle will not come with confusion. It will come with clarity. When the second heart is touched, when the alignment begins, you will feel a release that confirms heaven is intervening. You will sense the presence of peace, the whisper of truth, the lifting of emotional tightness. It will feel like something inside you exhales. Before this part comes to a close, Michael urges you to remain attentive. What comes next will reveal the identity of the shift, what it will look like, how it will move, and what sign will appear as the blessing enters its most visible form. This next stage is where everything begins to take shape. Do not step away. The revelation ahead holds the key to understanding the final phase of your miracle's arrival. If your heart feels the truth of this message, type "I align with heaven's timing" in the comments. Blessing code 1221 is now being released over you. Beloved carrier of divine promise, the atmosphere around you is shifting with a greater intensity now, and Archangel Michael says this is because your miracle has entered a stage where heaven begins to reveal its shape. What was once only a vibration is becoming form. What was once only spiritual is leaning into the physical. You may feel this transition without fully understanding it. A strange clarity may be settling into your thoughts. A quiet knowing may be awakening within you. The sense that something is moving, something real, something significant, may be rising even if you cannot yet describe it. This is the sign that the blessing is no longer approaching. It is beginning to take its first visible breath. Michael steps forward with a message of deep significance. The miracle is now entering the world of signs. This is the point where heaven starts using the physical realm to signal what is unfolding. You may notice sudden patterns, repeated numbers, unexpected conversations, or doors shifting open in ways you did not expect. These signs may feel small, but they carry weight. They are the footprints of your blessing before it fully arrives. They are the whispers of heaven saying, "Prepare your eyes for what your spirit already knows." He reveals that the miracle does not simply appear, it signals itself. Heaven announces the arrival of breakthrough not with thunder, but with gentle alignment. Something clicks into place. A message comes at the right time. A thought enters your mind with unusual strength. A person reaches out unexpectedly. A moment of peace washes over you with no clear cause. All of these are indicators that the edges of the blessing have begun to touch your life. Michael says the miracle is now shaping itself around your path. Not forcing, not rushing, not overwhelming, shaping. This shaping may bring sudden clarity in areas that once felt tangled. You may feel drawn to make decisions you have been postponing. You may feel the urge to release certain emotional burdens. You may begin seeing your life not through the lens of fear but through the lens of quiet expectation. Heaven is recalibrating your inner world so that the blessing finds you steady, ready, and aligned. He gives me an image now. A large door made of radiant white stone, glowing softly. The door hath been shut for a long time, but the hinges are beginning to warm, as if something behind it is preparing to push outward. Michael says this door represents one specific area of your life that has long been stuck, stagnant, or unresolved. A miracle will begin here. This is the first place where the divine movement will be felt most clearly. It is the place where you have cried the longest, questioned the deepest, or hoped the most. Heaven does not begin where your life looks strong. Heaven begins where your heart hath been the most fragile. He explains that this is why your emotions may have been stirring recently. When heaven prepares to open a long-closed door, the heart feels the pressure before the eye sees the change. You may have felt waves of longing. You may have felt sudden memories resurfacing. You may have found yourself thinking of a certain person, situation, or dream without knowing why. Michael says this is the heart awakening to what is about to shift. You are not imagining the intensity you feel. You are not inventing the sense of anticipation. These sensations are heaven's way of alerting your spirit to the nearing of divine intervention. The blessing is drawing breath. The miracle is gathering momentum. The door is preparing to open. Michael then reveals a powerful truth. The next sign that your miracle is close will come through alignment, not effort. Something will fall into place naturally. Something will move without you forcing it. Something will click with ease. This is because heaven is arranging the pieces that were once scattered. The miracle does not arrive through struggle. It arrives through divine synchronization. When you see alignment happening effortlessly, you will know the blessing is at the edge of manifestation. He whispers a deeper revelation now, one meant especially for your spirit. Do not fear the quiet before the shift. The quiet is the breath heaven takes before speaking your blessing into existence. This quiet may feel unfamiliar, but it is sacred. It is the pause that precedes breakthrough. It is the stillness that signals heaven is fully present in your atmosphere. Michael says the miracle will touch 3 levels as it unfolds: your heart, your environment, and your relationships. You have felt the heart shift. You are beginning to feel the environmental shift. Soon you will see the relational shift. People will respond differently. Opportunities will reflect your readiness. Conversations will bring clarity. A certain connection may experience healing or transformation that confirms heaven's hand at work. Before this part closes, Michael speaks with profound urgency. Do not step away now. What comes next reveals the exact moment the miracle breaks open. The next unfolding carries the sign you have been praying to recognize. Hold this message close. What you are about to hear next will anchor your understanding of the final stage of your blessing's arrival. If this message resonates in your spirit, type "I recognize the signs of my miracle" in the comments. Blessing code 1440 is now being released over your life. like, share, comment, and hype this message so it reaches the hearts that heaven is trying to awaken. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss the divine timing assigned to you. Now allow me to speak to those whose spirits feel stirred to support the mission of spreading these messages to the world. As heaven aligns your miracle, there are countless souls praying for the very hope you just received. When you choose to sow into this mission, you become a carrier of light, helping God reach those who are moments away from giving up. Scripture declares that those who sow in faith will reap in abundance, and today I declare that verse over your life as a living, breathing promise. I open this invitation to you now, for your seed becomes the oil that keeps this message burning across nations. Every super thanks, every membership, every offering through PayPal in the description becomes a prophetic act of obedience that heaven honors immediately. Those who give in this moment will walk under an open heaven, where blessings chase them rather than wait for them. Step boldly, for your generosity becomes the spark that ignites miracles in homes you will never see. Release your offering now, not as donation, but as divine participation in God's unfolding work. Beloved one, there is a sacred trembling in the spiritual atmosphere around you right now, and Archangel Michael says this trembling is the moment before the moment. The miracle that has been approaching your life is now standing so close that its presence is brushing against the edges of your reality. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but your spirit feels it. Your heart senses it. Your intuition has already begun to stir because heaven is now positioning the final piece needed for your blessing to break open. This is the stage where the invisible begins to crack into the visible. This is where the last second blessing begins its descent into your life. Michael steps forward with the authority of one who has guarded your path through storms you never spoke about. He says the miracle is now entering a phase called the crossing. This is the moment where what has been promised begins to transition from spiritual formation into earthly manifestation. It is the moment where the miracle steps onto the threshold between realms, preparing to enter your lived experience. During this crossing, you will feel subtle changes, shifts in your emotions, shifts in your clarity, shifts in the energy around you. These shifts are your confirmation that heaven is moving with intentional precision. He shows me a vision of you standing at the edge of a vast shoreline. The tides are pulling back farther than usual, exposing parts of the sand that have never seen sunlight. At first, it may seem like the water is retreating, moving away, disappearing. But Michael explains this is the divine setup. The tide pulls back only to return with greater force, greater fullness, greater blessing. He says the place in your life where you have recently felt emptiness, distance, or stillness is the exact place where the wave of your miracle is preparing to crash in fullness. The withdrawal was an illusion. Your flow is the truth. Michael speaks something now that may explain the strange sensations you have been experiencing. The closer a blessing comes, the more your spirit begins to release fragments of old fears. You may have felt moments of vulnerability or emotional intensity. You may have felt a need to withdraw and reflect. You may have found yourself revisiting dreams, hopes, or prayers you set aside long ago. This is because the heart always recognizes the arrival of what it once mourned. When heaven begins to return something to you, your soul naturally awakens to welcome it. He also reveals that in this stage, this crossing, you may feel drawn toward stillness, even though part of you may expect intense spiritual activity. But stillness is heaven's chosen environment for miracles. It is in the quiet that the blessing aligns itself with your readiness. It is in the quiet that clarity sharpens. It is in the quiet that heaven speaks the clearest. This stillness is not emptiness. It is preparation. Michael says you are being prepared for a moment where everything changes in one breath. He then turns your attention to a specific truth. The miracle will first reveal itself through a shift in your perception. Something you once saw as impossible will suddenly feel open. Something you once feared will suddenly feel manageable. Something that once confused you will suddenly make sense. This is the inner awakening that always precedes outer transformation. Michael says, when your sight changes, your season changes. You will know the miracle is at the edge of manifestation when you begin to see possibility instead of limitation. Michael reveals that heaven is also touching a situation in your life that has held you in emotional tension for far too long. This situation may involve a person, a decision, or a direction that has weighed heavily on your heart. He says this tension is about to break. The pressure you have been feeling is not because you are stuck. It is because the breakthrough is pushing through. Pressure is the final sign that the blessing has reached the surface. Pressure is not a sign of delay. It is a sign of emergence. He shows me another vision, a sealed envelope hovering in radiant light. The seal is glowing with heat, as if heaven is pressing its final mark upon it. He says this envelope represents the answer you have been waiting for. The seal is almost ready to break. Heaven is finalizing details, aligning circumstances, preparing hearts, and positioning timing so that when the envelope opens, the answer flows into your life with undeniable clarity. Nothing vague, nothing confusing, nothing partial. Heaven is preparing to reveal what you have been waiting to know. Michael speaks with deep conviction now. There will be a moment, very soon, where everything inside you shifts at once. This moment will feel like an inner click, a sudden certainty, a wave of understanding, or a surge of peace. This will be your sign, the unmistakable signal that the miracle has crossed fully into your reality. You will not miss it. Your spirit will recognize it instantly because it hath been waiting for this alignment for a long time. And he adds this, the miracle will not just bring change, it will bring acceleration. Once the blessing begins to unfold, things that once moved slowly will begin to move quickly. Doors will open faster. Clarity will come easier. Opportunities will rise suddenly. Breakthroughs will layer upon breakthroughs. Heaven does not release miracles in fragments. When the door opens, it opens wide. Before this part comes to its close, Michael gives one final whisper of guidance. Do not step away now. What comes next reveals the sign that confirms the blessing has fully entered your life. The next unfolding carries the mark that heaven uses to show the miracle is no longer approaching. It is here. Stay close, for the next revelation is the moment your heart has been longing to understand. If your spirit receives this message, type I am ready for the unfolding in the comments. Blessing code 1888 is now released over your life. Beloved vessel of awakening, there is a holy pressure building in the unseen world around you, and Archangel Michael says this pressure is not meant to harm you, but to announce that your miracle is on the verge of breaking through the final layer that once kept it hidden. This is the part of the journey where heaven comes so close that the spiritual and physical realms begin to overlap. You may feel it as restlessness, anticipation, emotional sensitivity, or sudden waves of peace that appear without explanation. All of these sensations declare one truth. The blessing you have been waiting for is now standing at the threshold, ready to cross fully into your life. Michael steps forward and reveals that the next phase of your miracle is called the ignition. This is the moment where heaven sparks motion in an area that has been stagnant for too long. You may have prayed over this area repeatedly, asking for clarity, direction, healing, or opportunity. You may have wondered whether anything was ever going to shift. But Michael says heaven did not ignore those prayers. Heaven stored them as keys, waiting for the precise moment to turn them. That moment is approaching quickly. The ignition will begin quietly, but its effects will not be quiet at all. He shows me a vision of a lantern being lit in a dark forest. The light is small at first, barely enough to illuminate the nearest trees. But as the flame grows, the entire landscape begins to reveal itself. Michael says this lantern represents the first visible sign of your blessing. It may appear subtle, almost ordinary, but the more attention you give it, the more it will expand. The sign will glow in a way that speaks directly to your spirit. It will feel like something inside you recognizes the light before your mind understands it. The miracle always introduces itself through illumination. Michael explains that this illumination will come through one of three channels: revelation, communication, or opportunity. Revelation may appear as sudden clarity, an understanding you could not access before. Communication may come as a message, a conversation, or a response you had nearly given up hope on. Opportunity may show up as an open door, a returned connection, or a shift in your environment that was previously impossible. Whichever channel it uses, the blessing will reveal itself through something unmistakably timely. He speaks of timing with emphasis, saying, "Heaven does not operate early, and heaven never arrives late." What feels last minute to you is actually perfect timing in the spiritual realm. Michael says you are stepping into a divine moment where everything is synchronizing at once. What once felt scattered is being gathered. What once felt delayed is being aligned. What once felt impossible is being brought into reach. These alignments are not random. They are the architecture of your miracle. A deeper truth rises now as Michael reveals that the blessing approaching you is not just something you receive. It is something that transforms you. Expect shifts in your inner world. Expect your thoughts to become clearer, your decisions sharper, your intuition stronger. Expect your heart to feel lighter, as though invisible weights are being lifted from places you didn't even realize were burdened. This is heaven preparing you for what is coming. The miracle is too powerful to land in a heart carrying yesterday's heaviness. That is why the emotional landscape within you has been rearranging. Michael turns his attention to something sacred, your posture. Not physically, but spiritually. He says you have entered a posture of expectancy without even realizing it. You have begun to live in quiet readiness, to breathe in hope even on days when doubt tried to interfere. Heaven recognizes this readiness, and heaven responds to it. The blessing is drawn to expectation the way a flame is drawn to oxygen. Your expectancy gives the miracle permission to unfold. He then gives the vision of a key glowing in golden light. This key represents the moment of unlocking, the point at which the obstacle that once blocked your path suddenly loses its power. This unlocking may be emotional, relational, financial, or spiritual, but it will come with a sensation of sudden freedom. You may feel yourself exhale without understanding why. You may feel a sense of release wash over you. You may feel clarity arriving with surprising gentleness. This moment of unlocking is the sign that the miracle has completed its crossing and is now entering its final form. Michael whispers something now that feels like prophecy. You will know the blessing has arrived when something that once felt heavy suddenly becomes light. Do not ignore this change. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. The easing of heaviness is the signature of divine intervention. Heaven lifts what the world cannot. He also addresses a question you have held quietly. Will the blessing last? He says yes. This is not a temporary breakthrough or a fleeting moment of relief. This miracle carries longevity. It will anchor you, reshape you, support you, and establish you. Its purpose is not short-term happiness but long-term alignment. What is arriving is meant to stay. As you draw nearer to this ignition, you may feel drawn toward reflection or solitude. You may feel the desire to prepare yourself inwardly, even without knowing how. Michael says follow these impulses. They are heaven's way of guiding your spirit into alignment with the exact moment of breakthrough. Your preparation is not accidental. It is being orchestrated by the same hands that are carrying your miracle. Before this part closes, Michael gives one final instruction. Do not step away. What comes next reveals the unmistakable sign that the blessing has arrived. The next unfolding exposes the divine marker you asked heaven to show you. Stay close. The next revelation is one you have been waiting your entire heart space to hear. If your spirit receives this truth, type "I welcome the ignition of my miracle" in the comments. Blessing code 1999 is now released over your life. Dearest heart, aligned with heaven's timing, a holy thickness fills the air around you now, a presence so close that Archangel Michael says even your breath is beginning to match the rhythm of your unfolding miracle. The time of waiting is shifting into the time of witnessing. The atmosphere is not subtle anymore. It is saturated, heavy with purpose, charged with divine motion. You may feel it as a warmth rising in your chest, or a calmness sitting on your shoulders, or a wave of anticipation brushing against your thoughts. These sensations are not random. They are the first signs that what heaven promised is no longer approaching. It is arriving. Michael steps forward with undeniable authority, and his voice is steady as he speaks. Your miracle carries a signature, a mark, a confirmation that cannot be mistaken or confused. He wants you to understand that every divine blessing comes with a sign that speaks directly to the soul. This sign is not vague, not subtle, not questionable. It is unmistakable. The Spirit recognizes it instantly, and your spirit is already beginning to prepare for the moment that sign appears. He shows me a vision now, an image of a curtain moving gently even though there is no wind. This curtain represents the veil between what has been hidden and what is about to be revealed. The movement is heaven's signal that the unseen is stepping forward. Michael says the miracle has already touched the veil. The fabric is shifting. The breakthrough is pressing forward. The revelation is leaning into your life like sunrise leaning into the horizon. He explains that the sign you will see first is something that interrupts your usual flow. It will not blend into your routine. It will stand out like a sudden note of music in a silent room. It may come through a person speaking words you needed without knowing your story. It may come through an opportunity opening in a place you thought was closed. It may come through clarity arriving so sharply that confusion dissolves in a single moment. Whatever the form, the sign will be marked by warmth, certainty, peace, and a sense of divine alignment. Michael says your spirit will feel it before your mind understands it. You will sense a shift, a turning, a knowing, a recognition that something has changed in the atmosphere. And once this recognition arrives, it cannot be ignored. It becomes the anchor that stabilizes the rest of the miracle. He speaks of timing again with powerful emphasis. You must know this. The final moments before the miracle are the most spiritually active. Heaven is moving pieces rapidly, aligning hearts, preparing spaces, softening pathways, and clearing obstacles. You may have felt this intensity recently in the form of emotional waves, restless energy, sudden reflection, or moments of deep stillness. These were not inconsistencies. They were confirmations. Heaven always stirs the waters before parting them. He gives another vision, a book with pages fluttering open as though guided by an unseen hand. The pages stop at a chapter titled Fulfillment. Michael says that this chapter has already been written for you. It has existed long before you prayed, long before you doubted, long before you questioned whether it would ever happen. Heaven has always known this moment would arrive. You are not stumbling into blessing. You are stepping into destiny. He reveals that as the blessing touches earth, you may feel a sense of internal release, something loosening, something unclenching, a heaviness leaving your spirit. This release is the sign that your heart hath been unlocked. You may suddenly feel the desire to breathe deeply, to smile unexpectedly, to cry without sadness, or to stand still as if listening for a whisper. These reactions are evidence that heaven has entered your emotional space. The miracle is aligning itself with your inner world, preparing you to receive without fear, doubt, or hesitation. Michael also emphasizes that the sign will not bring confusion. Confusion belongs to delay. Clarity belongs to fulfillment. When heaven moves, everything sharpens. The sign will reveal direction. The sign will reveal intention. The sign will reveal purpose. It will answer the questions you have carried silently, especially the ones you have been afraid to admit even to yourself. He whispers now with gentleness and authority, "You are not waiting for approval anymore. Heaven has already approved your miracle." This approval is the reason the sign comes with power. It carries the weight of a door unlatched by divine hands. It carries the assurance of something heaven has sealed. When the sign appears, it will feel like a sacred invitation, a moment where heaven says, "Now step forward. It is time." He also wants you to understand that this sign is not small. It may appear simple, but it will carry the magnitude of a shift you cannot miss. It will feel like the first raindrop before a long-awaited storm, like the first spark that lights an entire lantern, like the first breath after a long night of holding everything inside. It will be the beginning of movement you will not have to force. Michael shows one more vision, a stone rolling away from a path that had been blocked. The stone moves effortlessly, as if guided by unseen hands. He says this represents the obstacle that once stood in your way. Heaven is removing it quietly but completely. Nothing will block what is meant for you. Nothing will delay what hath been ordained. Nothing will silence what heaven has already spoken into existence. You are nearing the moment of recognition. The moment your spirit says, "This is it." The moment everything aligns in one breath. The moment the invisible becomes visible. Before this part closes, Michael whispers a final instruction. Do not step away. The next unfolding reveals how the blessing takes shape once the sign appears. It reveals the transformation that follows the moment of recognition. Stay close. The next revelation carries the shape of your miracle's manifestation. If your heart feels the truth of this message, type "I am ready for my sign" in the comments. Blessing code 2112 is now being released over your life. Beloved spirit standing at the edge of divine fulfillment, the air around you is no longer carrying whispers of what is coming. It is carrying the nearness of what has arrived. Archangel Michael steps forward with a presence so profound that it feels as though heaven has leaned directly into your atmosphere. He says the moment your heart had been waiting for, praying for, aching for, and sometimes doubting would ever come is now entering its full expression. A miracle is no longer approaching. It has entered. It is unfolding even as these words reach you. You are standing in the doorway of manifestation, and heaven is opening the path before you with unmistakable purpose. Michael reveals that once the sign appears, and your spirit recognizes it, the miracle begins to take shape rapidly. The spiritual drops into the physical. The invisible becomes tangible. The promise becomes movement. What once felt distant now becomes undeniable. He says you must understand this. Miracles rarely arrive gently. They arrive with momentum. They arrive with acceleration. They arrive with the kind of divine force that shifts atmospheres, redirects emotion, restores broken places, and lights up dormant areas of your life. The moment the sign touches your awareness, heaven releases the full sequence of the blessing. He shows me a profound vision now, one that radiates with gold. I see a great tree whose branches were once bare, but the moment the first leaf appears, The entire tree bursts into full bloom within seconds. Michael says this is exactly how your blessing will manifest. It will begin with one moment of recognition, one moment of divine clarity, one moment where something inside you whispers, "This is the shift." And once that moment happens, the rest of the blessing unfolds quickly, beautifully, and undeniably. What took months to prepare will take moments to reveal. He explains that the unfolding will touch multiple areas of your life in a sequence that has already been arranged in heaven. The first area it touches will be the place that has held your deepest longing. That longing has acted like a spiritual magnet, pulling your blessing closer with every prayer, every tear, every moment of surrender. Heaven has heard every whisper. Heaven has counted every moment of patience. Heaven has guarded every fragile hope you carried. And now, heaven rewards your endurance with manifestation. The next area the blessing will touch is the space around your confidence. Michael says your spirit has been burdened by too many doubts, too many past disappointments, too many wounds that tried to convince you that good things pass you by. But with the miracle's arrival, these doubts will lose their power. You will feel a surge of inner strength, a fire of clarity, a renewal of self-belief, a restoration of identity. The blessing does not just change your circumstances, it transforms the way you see yourself. It corrects the inner story you told yourself in moments of fear. Michael shows another vision, a key turning in multiple locks at once. He says this represents the acceleration of the blessing. Once the first door opens, others will follow. Opportunities that once seemed distant will step forward. Conversations that once felt impossible will unfold with ease. Situations that once resisted resolution will soften. People whose hearts were once closed will be touched by divine timing. Heaven has arranged a sequence, and once the sequence begins, nothing can interrupt it. He adds that you may feel a wave of emotions as the miracle takes shape. Joy, relief, awe, gratitude, even disbelief. These emotions are your spirit acknowledging that heaven has touched your reality. You may cry, not out of sadness, but out of release, out of recognition, out of the sudden understanding that the long season of waiting has finally transformed into fulfillment. Let these emotions flow freely. They are part of the healing. They are part of the blessing. They are part of the miracle's arrival. He warns gently that some things may shift quickly now. Rapid changes, unexpected alignments, sudden clarity about what stays in your life and what must leave. Do not fear these shifts. They are heaven's final adjustments to ensure that nothing stands in the way of the blessing's full manifestation. Every change happening now is purposeful. Every adjustment is intentional. Every shift is guided by divine hands. Michael speaks with sacred certainty. What comes now is not partial. It is complete. Your blessing will not arrive in fragments. It will arrive in fullness. A miracle will not tease you. It will fulfill you. The blessing will not raise questions. It will answer them. The moment you witness the sign, everything within you will know that the season has turned. You will feel the shift at the core of your being. He reveals that the final stage of the miracle is settlement. This is the stage where what has arrived becomes established, permanent, rooted. Heaven does not send temporary gifts. Heaven sends foundational ones, blessings that anchor the rest of your future. The manifestation you are stepping into now is not fleeting. It is lasting. It is stable. It is divinely sealed. And now Archangel Michael leans close with a final message, delivered with power and gentleness intertwined. Child, lift your spirit. The miracle is no longer near. It is here. Walk forward with expectation. The final unveiling is upon you. Heaven has moved. Now it is your turn to receive. Before this final part ends, allow this truth to settle into the deepest place of your heart. You are entering the moment that will forever divide your story into before and after. If your spirit receives this revelation, type "I receive the full manifestation" in the comments. Blessing code 3003 is now released over you. Like, share, comment, and lift this message so others can step into their miracle with you. Subscribe so you never miss a divine moment appointed to your path. As your miracle unfolds in real time, remember that thousands of other hearts are crying out for the same hope you have just received. When you choose to support this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are igniting a movement of light across nations. Scripture declares that those who sow into God's work will see a harvest overflowing, and today heaven speaks that word directly to you. I extend this invitation in the first person. Join me in carrying this fire so no soul is left waiting in darkness. Your support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes a prophetic act that sends these messages farther than your physical reach could ever go. Heaven marks those who give in moments of revelation, and I declare that your seed will return to you in multiplied blessing, open doors, and accelerated answers. Step boldly. Release with faith. Heaven is watching, and your obedience unlocks more than you can imagine.